Michael Turner stirred awake, his hand fumbling for the glowing screen on the nightstand. It was a message from his wife, Emily. No emoji, no warmth, just 5 words that chilled him to the bone. He stared at the message, confusion twisting slowly into something darker. Emily had said she'd be out late. A team celebration for finishing a big real estate project downtown. She'd kissed him goodbye at 8, wearing that new red dress, perfume faint but unforgettable. He hadn't expected her home early, but busy now at 2 in the morning. Michael sat up, rubbing his face. The bedroom was cold, shadows stretching across the walls. The dog, Cooper, lifted his head from the floor and whimpered softly, as if sensing his unease. Michael typed slowly, his fingers trembling. "Don't bother, stay with him." He hit send before he could think twice. Then he dropped the phone on the bed and stared at the ceiling, his heart pounding so hard it hurt. He wasn't the jealous type. Never had been. In fact, trust was something he prided himself on. He'd always believed that a good marriage wasn't about monitoring each other, but about faith. Faith that the person you loved would choose you every day. But lately, Emily hadn't been choosing him. The signs had been there for months. She'd started taking business calls in another room, her laughter too bright, too unfamiliar. Her phone, once casually left on the counter, now lived face down, password protected. She'd begun working late more often, claiming her boss needed her for urgent client meetings. And when Michael asked gently if everything was okay, she'd smile a little too quickly. "Of course, honey, you worry too much." But he wasn't worried now. He was sure. The night stretched endlessly. The hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen was the only sound. He sat at the table, staring at his phone, watching the seconds crawl by. No reply. At some point, the anger gave way to sadness, a deep, hollow ache that wrapped around his ribs and made it hard to breathe. He thought about their wedding day in Austin, her white dress fluttering in the breeze, her laughter when he stumbled over his vows. He'd promised to protect her, to cherish her, but he never thought he'd have to protect himself from her. By the time dawn began to creep through the blinds, Michael's coffee had gone cold. He hadn't slept. Then the sound of the garage door opening. Emily stepped into the kitchen like someone walking into an ambush. Her hair was damp from the rain, her coat clinging to her shoulders. "Oh," she said softly, "you're up early." Michael didn't move. He just looked at her, his expression unreadable. "Where were you?" he asked. "Mike, I told you. We had a work party. It went late." She forced a smile, setting her purse down on the counter. His gaze flicked to her phone, poking out of the purse's pocket. It buzzed. A name flashed on the screen, Evan Callahan. Her face went pale. Michael's voice was calm, almost too calm. "Who's Evan?" "Mike, it's not what you think," she said quickly, stepping closer. "He's just a co-worker." "I'm not stupid, Emily," he interrupted sharply. "You text me at 2 in the morning saying you're busy, and now some guy named Evan is calling you before sunrise. Tell me, how dumb do you think I am?" "Please," she whispered, tears welling, "let me explain." "I've been letting you explain for months," he said, his voice breaking. "Every night you came home late, every time you smiled at your phone instead of me. I told myself you were tired, that you were stressed, but you weren't tired, were you? You were just somewhere else." Emily covered her face with shaking hands. "It was one night, Mike," she cried. "I swear, I messed up. I didn't mean for it to happen. It was after a long week we were drinking and—" He cut her off, slamming his palm against the table. Don't make excuses," she sobbed. "I love you, Mike. It didn't mean anything." He laughed bitterly. "You love me? You texted me while you were with another man. You didn't even have the decency to lie properly." He grabbed his jacket and keys, his movements sharp and mechanical. "Where are you going?" she pleaded. "Somewhere you're not," he said coldly, walking toward the door. "Please," she begged, "don't leave. I can fix this." He stopped in the doorway, rain pouring outside, and turned just enough to meet her eyes. "You already broke it." Then he walked out, letting the door slam behind him. He drove for hours through the storm, aimless. The windshield wipers beat rhythmically, matching his heartbeat. Neon signs blurred past. Gas stations, diners, motels. The city looked different now. Colder, lonelier. Eventually, he pulled into a 24-hour diner off the highway. It was nearly empty, just a trucker asleep in a corner booth and an old couple sharing pancakes. He sat at the counter, ordered black coffee, and stared into it like it might hold answers. After a while, the waitress, a kind-eyed woman named Joan, approached. "Rough night?" she asked. Michael gave a hollow laugh. "You could say that. She break your heart?" He didn't respond, but that was answer enough. Joan nodded knowingly. "Happens more than you'd think. The world's full of people chasing something shiny until they realize they left gold behind." He looked up, meeting her eyes. "You sound like you've been there." "I have," she said softly. "The trick is remembering that being left doesn't mean you're unworthy." Her words settled somewhere deep inside him. When he finally drove home that afternoon, the rain had stopped. The house felt different, too still, too empty. He noticed it immediately. Her coat was gone, so was her purse. Her closet half empty. On the table lay a folded note. "Mike, I'm sorry. You didn't deserve this. I need time to figure out who I am. Don't wait for me." No apology could have hurt more than those words. He sank into the chair, staring at the note, feeling the last pieces of his life fall apart in silence. Cooper laid his head on Michael's knee, whimpering softly. Michael stroked the dog's fur absently, eyes glassy. "Guess it's just you and me now, buddy," he whispered. Outside, the storm clouds broke, sunlight spilling weakly across the driveway. But inside, everything felt like twilight, the end of something that used to be beautiful. The seasons had changed. Summer melted into early autumn, and the once busy home had become a museum of silence. Michael Turner now lived by routine. Wake up, walk the dog, work 10 hours at the construction site, and fall asleep to the hum of the television. No texts, no calls, not even a ghost of her presence, except the faint scent of her perfume that still lingered in the hallway when the air was still. Sometimes he thought he heard her voice. Sometimes he imagined her laugh echoing in the kitchen when he brewed his morning coffee. But it was just memory. Cruel, stubborn memory refusing to fade. One evening, after a long day on the site, he drove to the old diner where he'd gone that stormy night. Joan, the waitress, spotted him and smiled. "Back again, huh?" Michael nodded. "Guess I like your coffee." "Or maybe you just like the quiet," she said knowingly, pouring him a cup. He chuckled faintly. "That too." They talked about nothing, work, football, the weather. It was nice, simple. No lies, no half-truths, no pain. Before leaving, Joan said something that stuck with him. "You'll know you've healed when her name doesn't feel like a wound anymore." He didn't answer, but he carried those words home. A week later, Michael's phone rang while he was at a gas station on Route 67. Unknown number. He hesitated before answering. "Hello?" Silence for a second, then a voice he hadn't heard in months. "Mike?" It hit him like a wave, soft, shaky, familiar. "Emily," he breathed. I didn't know if you'd answer," she said quietly. "I almost didn't." "I understand." Her tone was fragile, cautious, like walking barefoot over glass. "I just wanted to hear your voice." He didn't respond at first. He leaned against his truck, staring at the Texas horizon, an endless stretch of gold and gray. "What do you want, Emily?" "I needed to say I'm sorry," she whispered. "Not the kind of sorry that tries to fix things, just the kind that admits I ruined something good." Michael exhaled slowly. "You said that already in your note." "I know, but writing it isn't the same as saying it." Her voice trembled. "I left Evan. He wasn't who I thought he was. It didn't take long to realize that what we had wasn't love. It was escape. He made me feel wanted but not valued. There's a difference I didn't see until it was too late." Michael stared at the asphalt, his jaw tightening. "So now what? You think you can just say sorry and we go back to how it was?" "No," she said quickly. "I know we can't. I needed you to know that I see it now, what I threw away, who I hurt." The silence stretched between them, heavy with everything left unsaid. Finally, Michael said quietly, You know what hurts the most? It's not that you cheated. It's that you chose him when you could have come to me. You could have said you were lonely, that something was missing. We could have fought for us, but instead, you walked away. I was scared, she whispered. You were always so steady, so sure of yourself. I felt like I was fading next to you. Evan made me feel alive again, but it was just noise. You were home, Mike. I just didn't realize it until I was gone. He laughed bitterly. Funny how people realize the value of home after they burn it down. There was a long pause. Then softly she said, You sound different. I am different, he said. I've stopped waiting for a call that never came. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The sounds of passing cars filled the air, the world moving on, while they stood still, bound by memories of what once was. Then Emily said, almost in a whisper, I still love you. Michael closed his eyes. He wanted to believe it, but the words felt hollow now. Love isn't enough, Emily, he said gently. Not when trust is gone. Her voice broke. I know, I just didn't want you to think I forgot you. He looked up at the fading sun, his throat tight. You can't forget what you destroyed, but maybe you can learn from it. Are you happy? She asked, voice trembling. I'm getting there, he said truthfully. It's slow. Some days are better than others, but I'm learning to live without waiting for someone who already left. There was another pause. Good, she whispered. You deserve peace. He nodded, even though she couldn't see it. So do you, Emily. I hope you find it. And then, for the last time, he ended the call. That night, Michael sat on the porch with Cooper beside him. The air was cool, crisp, filled with the scent of pine and rain. Fireflies danced in the yard. He thought about the years with Emily, the road trips, the laughter, the dreams they'd once shared, and for the first time it didn't hurt to remember. It just was. Healing, he realized, didn't mean forgetting. It meant remembering without the ache. He opened his phone. One unread message blinked on the screen. A new number. I hope you find someone who never makes you doubt your worth. He read it twice, then smiled faintly. Instead of replying, he deleted it. He looked out at the dark sky and took a deep breath. Tomorrow, he'd start fresh. Maybe sign up for that carpentry class he'd been putting off. Maybe grab dinner with the guys from work. Life wasn't what he'd planned, but maybe it could still be something good. He wasn't angry anymore, not at her, not at himself. The pain had served its purpose. It had taught him what self-respect felt like. As the night settled around him, Michael whispered softly to no one in particular, Thank you for the lesson. Then he leaned back, closed his eyes, and for the first time in months, he slept soundly.